morning. So with this newsletter, we've got an attachable downloadable PDF for you guys to download, and it's what I like to call the Stress Beaker. Now, a lot of you might have done this when you came into the office, or if you're doing the online course, the first thing I get you to do is complete the downloadable Stress Beaker. I've been going into lots of corporate offices at the moment, and that's where we begin too, where when you want to get good energy, right, the first place to look at is look at all the stresses in your beaker, right? So as you begin to think about the stresses in your beaker, what I find in the corporate talks and in the discussions with the groups is we start to think of external things, right? So we start to think of our workload, our work hours, our bosses, our colleagues, our families, our children, all these demands on us and on our time. A lot of these things are out of our control, or can appear like they're out of our control, right? When I go into a corporate office, and if they've got deadlines to meet, I'm not going to tell them to quit their jobs because we've got bills to pay, all of us. Or for example, when I was in the old office in Brandon Street, a huge stress load on me was the fact that there was no natural light. So it would really impact my health. So I had to find ways to reduce the stress load on my body each and every day. The long-term goal was to move offices, obviously, right? But in the short term, I needed to look at the external stresses on my body. So it's always looking at those external stresses, what's within your control, and writing them down really helps. But also when I'm working with one-on-one clients and also in corporate groups, what I notice is a lot of us forget about the internal stresses. So right now, I want you to write down every single symptom you've got. Maybe you're not sleeping well. Maybe you wake up with poor energy. Maybe you're getting gas, fatigue, bloating, wind, any of those things, constipation, loose stools, acne, bad periods, mean your health started to decline, you're not as strong as you used to be. Any of those things are signs that your body is out of balance. It's not functioning as well as possible. So I want you to divide up your stress beaker into the percentage of what you think it is causing stress on your body. That's going to look like, it's going to look different for all of us. My stress beaker is going to be different. And the cool thing about doing this, and why I ask you to do it again, is as our lives change, our stress beakers also change. So that huge stress of being in an office with no windows has now changed for me. It's not a part of my stress beaker. I have now got an office with window space and natural light that I love sharing with you guys. So that's changed. So I want you to get a stock take of what's happening with your stress. Now I want you to color coordinate all your internal stresses. So all the things that are happening in your body, because chunk them together, right? If you pull down those internal stresses, what's happening to your stress beaker? It's the easiest way to pull it down. Are you somebody that right now just feels like anything coming at you could topple you over that beaker, that everything could flow out and it just feels like life is too hard? Or you're one thing away from snapping at your children or melting down in tears with your boss? That's when we know your stress beaker is not balanced. That's when we know we want to look at everything internally. And I know that in the online course, right? That's what we're doing. We're looking at all the internal symptoms and all the internal things that we can change to bring down your stress beaker. Because when your stress beaker changes, the way you view life, your relationships, your enjoyment, your quality of life, all changes. So my challenge for you today is download the PDF and check in with where you're at. If you want to do it with us in office, yell out and we'll always talk you through it and we will target it for you. But let's see all those low-hanging fruit stresses that we can get rid of. I know that when I was working at the investment bank and I was at my peak stress in terms of work, obviously commitment with studying for my chartered accountancy, and then my body being so out of balance. I remember one day my dad ringing me and giving me one simple instruction to do. I needed to do something. And I just started crying in the coffee shop. My stress beaker was so high and so off the charts. Things were always pushing me over. That's a horrible place to live, just in terms of for ourselves. But that's stressing out our hormones and our adrenals and putting more pressure on our thyroid and a lot of other organs. Our gut too, it creates leaky gut. So download the PDF and let us know what's happening with your Stress Beaker.